Hello, music producers. I'm Rishi, and this is Produced with Ease. This is the part 3 of the Basics of Equalization series in this channel. If you haven't checked out the previous two videos, click the link over here, and if it's not here, please check the description for the tutorials. In this tutorial, we'll learn about the subtractive and additive EQ and the basics behind it in FL Studio 20. But before that, subscribe to this channel for more tutorials and more amazing music production content in the future. And let me know what do you want to learn next. So let's dive right in now. So let's start the tutorial. The first part is subtractive EQ, which means clearing out unwanted frequencies or resonances from your vocal sample or the audio sample which you are EQing. There can be resonances for many reasons, which can be due to untreated room or lots of reflection, or there may be resonances in your vocals too, which you want to clear out to make your vocal more bright or more pleasing sounding. So let's start. Okay, so first let's hear the vocal sample that we are going to be EQing. Let me out, let me out. I can't breathe, I'm underwater. Save me now, help me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me. If my words could reach your eyes now, just like a piece of broken stone. You toss me in the water, so that was the vocal sample. This is actually from my latest single Oceans, which you can stream on Spotify. And let me know what you think of the song. So let's EQ the song. So let's add a parametric EQ. Here it is. So what is subtractive EQ? As I said, clearing out the unwanted frequencies from the vocal sample or the audio sample which you are EQing, so that it's more smooth and better sounding to the ears, and it gives a better feeling. So let's see what do we need to subtract from these vocals. Let me out, let me out. I can't breathe, I'm underwater. So the very first thing, which is I need to high pass this area, because below 60 hertz there is not much happening in order for vocals, so we need to cut it out clear completely so that it does not clash with any other low end instruments like kicks or any other bass instruments. So we'll clear out. Let me out, let me out. Okay. I can. So this is my vocal region. So now let's see. So if you pull this up or down, the vocals will get more boomy, or if you pull this down, it will get more thin. Like the bass from the vocal will be completely eliminated. So as I recorded this in a studio environment, so there are not much reflections uh, in these vocals. But let's see what can we subtract, or what do we need to do in order to make this sound even better. So let's pull this up once. Let me out, let me out. I can't breathe, I'm underwater. Save me now, help me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me. As you can see, when my vocal, there are some frequencies that when come here, that when they light up this part, you can hear the bass sounds a bit harsh or a bit too much. So we'll just cut it out a little bit, not too much, not a very wide band, but a little bit, so that the bass sound, the low end sound gets more smooth. Let me out, let me out. I can breathe much water. As you can see, when I pull this all the way down, the vocal gets completely uh, thin and loses all its bass. So we don't want to do that. We'll just pull it down a little bit so the bass sound gets cut out just a little bit. Let me out, I can breathe much water. So that's what I did with the bass. So now just keep in mind that use your ears when you're EQing. As this is my vocal, I have a pretty sure goal in my mind that what I want to do with this vocal for this song in order to make it sound good and sit better in the mix. So I just cut out the vocal, and my vocals are very thin. I don't have a lot of bass in my vocals, or low end in my vocals. So I'll cut out this part. So now next, let's move to the next part, the third band, which is the lower mid region. Let's see. Let me out, I can breathe much more. So when you pull this up or down, the third band or the lower mid region, this means if you pull this upwards, your vocal is going to be sounding like you're in a box, and the sound is going to be very boxy, and like, you understand what I'm saying. Let me out, I can breathe. You got it. So we don't want to do that, or we don't want to do this even because let me out, I can breathe a much. Vocal will lose all its bass frequencies again. So just pull it up a little bit. Keep in mind that always trust your ears. Do not pull out every band and just keep cutting out frequencies. You need to trust your ears and think about the goal that that you want to achieve according to the song. So I in this song I just want my vocals to be a bit thinner and sit good with the mix. So I'm just cutting out the basses a little bit. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Say me now, help me out. So that's done. So let's go to the mid region, which is this region, the fourth and the fifth band, which is if you pull this up or pull this down. If you pull this up, your vocals are going to sound more nasally, and if you pull this down, your vocals are going to sound more not nasally. Well, let's see what does it sound like. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Say me now, help me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me. If As you can see the difference, when I pull this upwards, the vocal gets more nasally, and I don't know what to say, but you get the gist. And when I pull this down, the vocals get more thin and even thinner and lose all their warmth. So let's reset this. So I'll just look out for the frequencies that are here in the mid region that I don't want, or the resonances that I don't want. Let me out, I can breathe. By the way, the thing which I'm doing right now is called frequency sweeping, which means you pull this all the way up and make this a very narrow band, and then look for harsh resonances that are in your vocals. And the reason I'm doing this with a narrow band is because so that you can pull out or cut out the only specific frequency that you don't want, and not just cutting out the whole mid region. So let me out, I can breathe a macho. As you can see, as you can hear, there's a whistling sound in this vocal. So I'll just listen once again. Let me out, let me out. Okay, I got this. So this is the frequency that I want to cut out. But I won't do this, like I won't pull it from here, because if I pull it from here I might move a bit, because I'm using a mouse. So my hand might move a bit, and I might actually cut out any different frequency. So what I'll do, I'll just go here, I'll click on this, and then I'll pull it back. So that way I did not move, and the frequency that I selected is out. Let me out, let me out. I can breathe much water. Say me now, have me. So the next band is also the same thing. I'll do this. Let me out, let me out. I can breathe much water. Say me now, have me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me. If my words could reach your eyes now, just like a piece of broken stone, you would charge me. So there, I pulled it out again. I'm just doing this by every band because of the tutorial. I want to show you how each band works and how to use these for subtractive EQ. So normally when you are recording in a studio environment, there are not a lot of reflections, not a lot of frequencies that are going to clash with your vocals. So you don't have to do a lot of cutting or boosting. So I'm just doing this so you understand that the how each of the band works. So when I cut out the frequency here, you can see, let me out, let me out. There's a whistling sound that's in my voice, and I wanted to cut it out. So I'll just pull this back. Let me out, let me out. I can. And the whistling sound is gone. You might not actually hear this normally when you are talking, but when you are mixing a vocal with the sounds, there are a lot of other frequencies present in the instruments or vocal or any other samples that you're using, or any other instruments that you're using apart from the vocals, which might clash with frequencies like these or any other frequencies that are present in the vocals. And if you either cut out the frequencies from your vocals or cut out the frequencies from your instrument, but that way, but when you cut out them from your instrument, you can also lose a lot of tone during the process. So it's better to just cut out your frequencies that you don't want from your vocals and make it more clearer and brighter and crisp. And when I say crisp, this is a new term. When I say crisp, which means this means that your vocal is bright and more let's say there are more high sibilances which are not mm, particularly harsh to your ears, but they are there, which makes the voice more crisp and bright. So when I say crisp, I mean when I pull this upwards. Let me out, let me out. I can breathe much more. You can hear the higher frequencies or hiss noise that are present in the vocals, and when I boost this frequency, they get more loud and making the vocal sample more bright, as in a bad way. This is not a good sign. So I'll just do this part. Let me out, let me out. I can breathe much water. Say me now, have me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me. As you can see, as you can hear, that this part, this region. Let me out, I can breathe a more. This part has a lot of hiss sounds and whistling sounds and sounds that are not at all needed. So I'll just pull this back. Let me out. Keep in mind, do not pull this too much because you might make your vocals more muffled and it might sound like you are covering your mouth with something and then singing. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Say me now, help me out. Okay, that was the high mid region, and the last band, which is the seventh band, is for the low pass. But do not low pass like this because again it might sound muffled. Let me out. All the character and the tone and every good thing about the vocal gets lost when you low pass like this. So when you low pass, the vocals always clear out the region from 16K, around 16K. Let me out, I can breathe. So the frequencies that are above 16K gets cut out because we don't need that too much. Your main part of focus is this part, and this part, this mid region is also okay, but this part is very important. Do not cut out too much and do not keep too much. Always listen to it first. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Say me now, help me out, I'm wounded. So that was the part where I felt it was okay with the vocal. So I'll just keep it here. So that was subtractive EQ, which means I cut out the unwanted frequencies or resonances which I thought was not okay for the vocals. But this is a very exaggerated way of subtractive EQ. I don't want, not every time I will be doing every band, but I'll look for frequencies that are clashing with another frequencies, another instruments, and I'll clear out those. So that was subtractive EQ. So now let's move on to the next part. So the next part is additive EQ, which is adding more tonal quality to your vocals and making it more brighter or darker according to the goal you are trying to achieve, which means according to the song. If it's a, let's say, hip hop or R&B song, that and you want a little bit darker or more, let's say, darker voice, so we'll treat the vocal accordingly. And if you want a more energetic and bright and more in your face kind of vocal tone, we'll EQ it according to that. So this song, the song which I'm EQing right now, is an R&B kind of pop fusion kind of song, and I want my vocals to be in between dark and bright. So I don't want it too much bright or energetic, or and I don't want it too dark. So we've done the subtractive EQ, which means the vocals are clear now of the unwanted resonances and frequencies. So now let's add another EQ. So this time we'll not pull it back or like this, we'll not do narrow bands. We'll just add more tone to the voice. Let me out, I can breathe much water. As you can see, I've cut out the higher parts, the lower parts, so there's nothing here or nothing here. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Okay. Let me out, I can breathe much water. So as I said, I wanted in between dark and bright. So I'll just add some higher regions here. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Save me now, help me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me, if my words could reach. So, as you can hear, when I added these, there's a slope, so there's a gentle high frequencies which are making the vocal more crisp sounding and bright sounding. Let me out, I can breathe much water. There's a high frequency region that's present in the vocal. So now, and when I was adding this, I heard a bit of low and boominess. So I'll just go back. Where's the mixer? Okay. So I'll just go back to my subtractive EQ and hear it again. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Save me now, help me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me. So I just cut out a bit more. This is a very important thing. Do not always go back and forth during a mix, because uh, you can subtract something now, but when you're mixing in future the same song, you might think that this is too much, so I'll just add a bit more. So you have to go back and forth during the mix. There's no final say until you have exported the track, so always keep checking what's what and the volumes okay or not, the frequencies that you cut, is it okay or not. Give your ears a bit rest and then come back again, and then again try to hear it, and if there are any unwanted things, just cut it out, or if you want to add something, add it. Let's see. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Save me now, help me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me, if my words. Here I thought the vocal was getting too much thin, and there was there was a lack of mid range, so I just added a bit. I'll listen to it later on and I'll make sure that this sounds good, and I'll do it accordingly. So the next thing is, let's see what this sounds like. Let me out, I can breathe too much nasal noise, so not that anyway. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Save me now, help me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me. Let me. Yeah, this sounds good. So I just pulled it back a little bit. Additive EQ does not mean that you only have to do upwards boosting. You can also just cut it according to your mix. That will sound good. There's no fixed rule that you cannot cut while got additive EQ. So I just did a little bit of this, and then again, let's hear it. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Save me now, help me out. I'm wounded like a soldier. If only. Let's once hear with the track. Just pull everything out. Let me out, I can breathe much water. Save me now, help me out. I'm wounded like
If my words could reach your eyes now, just like a piece of broken stone, you toss me. Let me out, I can't breathe, I'm underwater. Save me now, help me out, I'm wounded like a soldier. If only you could see me, if my words could reach your eyes now, just like a piece of broken stone, you.
So for now, I think that sounds good. Obviously, I'll come back to this and again I'll do some experiment with my vocals. But that was subtractive and additive EQ. Keep in mind that every vocal is different, every recording environment is different. So when you're adding or subtracting any frequency, always trust your ears and do not finalize it in once. Do some EQing, just leave it like that, and then come back again, and again try to listen out the changes that you made, and change anything if you think there are some things that are needed to be changed, and then again go ahead with your mixing. So that was subtractive and additive EQ. I did this just for the tutorial like that. The frequencies present, so that you can hear the frequencies or the resonance present in the voice and how to clear them out. Let me know in the comments that does this sound good, or what do you want to add it, or what do you want more in this vocals. So I'll just add it and let's see how it turns out. So that's it, that's for the tutorial. So that was subtractive and additive EQ. I hope you learned a lot from this video, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I'll try to help you out. Till then, I'll come back next week with another video, another tutorial, and make sure to subscribe so that you never miss out on any tutorials that I post. So that's it. I'm Rishi and this is Produced with Ease.